Hey everyone, once again, welcome back for another movie review. And of course, now I'm gonna review and talk about Sudden Death from 1995, which is the second collaboration between Peter Hyams and Jean-Claude Van Damme. And later they did Enemies Closer many years later. And this is actually a clone of Die Hard. This movie, that I love to death, is actually a rip-off of Die Hard, the more a clone, and it's a good movie. It's actually a good movie, but I do have a few problems in this film. It has flaws, it has problems, but I like this film. I like Sudden Death. There was also a remake last year from Michael J. White called Welcome to the Sudden Death, which I watched that movie. I watched that movie last year in November. I think it was in October or November. I watched that film. I think it was end of October. I watched that film, and I watched also this film. So now to this film. Yeah, I know I should review tomorrow, but it's night now, so that's one of the reasons you can see lights. And I have not seen Time Cop at least 3-4 years. And when I review today Time Cop, I completely forgot a lot of stuff in it. And the reason I'm reviewing this film now is because I don't wanna forget this. I don't wanna forget stuff about this movie. Because tomorrow I'm gonna forget again. I did watch it last year. Rick, Rick. By the way, say hi to my buddy. Say hi, Rick. Yeah. Anyway, I love Time Cop, and when I watched Time Cop last night, I enjoyed it, but I kind of forgot quickly. Stuff about it. Sometimes I do have short memory. When I reviewed, when I reviewed last night, Hard Target, I can remember every scene, every scene, because I saw that movie over 100 times, and I know even the dialogue, not all of them, but yeah. But Sudden Death is actually one of Van Damme's really good movie. Yes, it's been considered by many fans his best. It's been considered a classic. It's not one of my favorite Van Damme films, but I still like this film. I like Sudden Death. Terror goes into overtime. I like this film. I still watch this film, and this is another Van Damme film I saw on VHS. My mom gave me the money, so I rented it. Was another film I watched on VHS. Time Cop was actually the first of the two that was directed by Peter Hyams. Peter Hyams directed one of my favorite films, End of Days, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yes, I love End of Days. He directed that film, so I love End of Days. But Sudden Death, I like the film, but like it has a problems. It's a Die Hard film. It's actually one of those Die Hard clones, and yeah. So the movie talks about a fireman who, in the opening scene, loses a young girl, a kid through a fire. She dies. And 2 years later, he's now a fire marshal. He takes his two kids, son and daughter, Emily and Tyler, to a hockey game, which is actually a Stanley Cup game. He goes and brings them to arena to hockey game. I think was the hockey between Pittsburgh Penguins and Colorado Avalanche. I think it was that game. It was actually the final in the Stanley Cup game, the finals. And because he's a fire marshal, and because his son, he has a birthday, he wants to surprise him. So he takes both the kids to the hockey game. And in the meantime, a team of terrorists are preparing to take over the game, which they smuggle each other like security guards, which they take over the vice president lodge, and they go and they took and they take hostages, including vice president played by I think was Raymond Raymond J. Barry. I did saw one of his films when I was in high school, but I can't remember what the movie was about already. It was a thriller. Anyway, Son and Dad is actually an action thriller, but more to it. While yeah, those terrorists played by Powers Boothe, Powers Boothe, rest in peace. He was in Southern Comfort, which I love that film. He was also in 24 season 6. And he was also that movie, I think was Esmeralda Forest, which I really like, but have not seen over the years, that film. Powers Boothe was also with Brandon Lee in Rapid Fire. He was also in that movie. In that movie, he was a good guy. In this movie, Powers Boothe plays a genius terrorist. I think he was an ex-CIA agent or was Secret Service. I'm not sure who he was, but he goes. The terrorists are actually thieves, and he goes and kidnaps Vice President's lodge, including Vice President and the rest of the staff, as a hostage. And he demands that he's gonna call the president, and they're gonna. He demands $1 billion for the ransom, and at least $700 million, including $1 billion, which are gonna transfer. In every game, they're gonna kill people, and they put bombs around the arena. And if the third period is not gonna pay it full, they're gonna blow the whole hockey arena, including around 1,000 people, who are actually fans of the Stanley Cup game. And while Darren McCord, played by Jean-Claude Van Damme, is waiting, and he's actually doing his job in a fire marshal. He finds out that his daughter gets missing, and the daughter runs away, and actually no, his daughter gets kidnapped in the vice president's suite lodge. And he finds out that the hockey arena has been taken over by terrorists, and now he takes the role of John McClane, and he decides to save. He tries to rescue his daughter, including disable all the bombs, while he has to fight mercenaries and prevent the disaster, and before his son and his daughter, and by the end of the game, gets killed, including the rest of the people. And yeah, so the flaws, I know I did not go through the whole movie. The flaws for this movie, in my opinion, is the first problem for this film. The fight scenes, that's not Jean-Claude Van Damme. The penguin mascot fight. That's not actually that's not Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's actually Mark Stefanich, his stunt double. Mark Stefanich he actually was in Hard Target, and I think he was in Hard Target, and he was in other films that he was actually his stunt double for Van Damme. But the fight scenes, when I watched the film, yes, I watched it, and I even click a pause, and you can see that's not Van Damme. But the fight scenes, Jean-Claude Van Damme is actually he's actually a karate master. He's a Shotokan karate, and the stunt double who uses the fight scenes, that's not Van Damme style. That's not even Shotokan style. No, that's completely different. And it's just not the fight scenes that I saw, like when Van Damme uses his splits, or he uses his martial arts, his power bombs or his spin kicks, like in Universal Soldier or Hard Target, which I love to death. He just doesn't use that. It's just one of my problems with the film. But yeah, the fight scene between the mascot, that's not Van Damme. That's actually Mark Stefanich. In the second fight scene in the first hour, when he stabs the guy with a bone, with a dog bone in the neck, that's not Van Damme. Yeah, he stabs him, but during the second fight scene, that's not Van Damme once again, you know. And when he gets hit, that's not Van Damme. I don't know what happened. That's one of the problems for the film. Second problem was actually the pacing. Yes, I kind of felt the movie was boring. I mean, kind of felt slow paced, you know. Like Van Damme doesn't do for 37 minutes barely anything. He doesn't do nothing except walks, talks, and he isn't that much in the film because the film more focused on the game and more on the professional thieves who are actually terrorists taking over the lodge, you know, or how they go and they ransom the cook while kidnapping his wife, you know, and I hated the guy who treated that poor old lady like trash, and then he goes, shoots her, and steals the cookies. I hate the guy. I hated him. I wrote his down. The guy, Jack Eardy, who plays Scratch. I hated the guy. Even as a kid, I hated him so much. I hated him in the film. And barely, the movie wasn't that much likable, you know. I liked the film, but wasn't likable. If I watch Cliffhanger, which kind of reminds like the opening scene when Van Damme plays a fireman and the girl dies, you know, kind of reminds me on the Cliffhanger, the opening scene while Sylvester Stallone plays when Sylvester Stallone plays Rescue Mountain and Rescue Climber, and the girl dies, you know. But on the end, the helicopter sequence. That kind of reminds me still on Cliffhanger. And I kind of love Cliffhanger to death because that movie is more exciting, more thrills. It's more fast paced. This movie is kind of boring. Except the second, I would say the second hour and the third act is kind of getting more exciting. But the first hour is kind of boring. It's kind of slow. It has slow burden. It's kind of slow film, in my opinion. Or Die Hard, you know. Die Hard is not slow film, you know. Die Hard is much better. It's more cool. It's more exciting. It's more real. And it's more realistic. This movie is more a fake film. And another thing, Bruce Willis did, mostly he did his own stunts, you know. Van Damme did not do that in this movie, and I know why. Or Christian Slater in Broken Arrow, this movie up, you know. And John Travolta, especially the fight scenes, they did their own fight scenes. I don't get it. What happened? Why Van Damme didn't do his own stunts? Barely the first hour, the fight scenes, that was not Van Damme. And even the second, I think was the third fight in the locker room. Once again, that was not Van Damme. That was not his style that he used on the next enemy. You know, that wasn't his style. When he knocked him out with the weights, that wasn't Van Damme. That was not his style. And the guy who jumps, you know, twice with the legs, that's a cool stunt, but that's not Van Damme. That's not his style. We don't see his splits. We don't see that much fight scenes. I mean, Time Cop is better film because in Time Cop I didn't see any stunt doubles. No, I did not saw any stunt doubles in Time Cop. This movie kind of had a few problems, you know. The other problem that I had with Van Damme is first off, where the hell did he even got the plans for the hockey arena? I did not know that even they keep the plans for hockey arena. And the second time, where did he even learn how to to make those darts, you know? And when the first terrorist shows up, you know, in that cell, you know, he says this is the most powerful plastic explosion, and he shoots the guy's dart, you know. I still know that with one dart, how was that dart even shooting, you know? I don't get it. If someone else can explain to me. Another thing, when Dorian Harwood Harmar supposed to be a good guy, he wasn't even likable in this movie. I hated that he turns out to be a bad guy. And I still know when Van Damme used the water pistol from his son, and he had a fire. I mean, when he spitted that fire, that water in the lighter, and that fire went and burned Dorian Harwood. I still don't know how did he do that, because with the lighter and the water pistol with water in it would be impossible. Unless he put a liquor in it, which we didn't see. That's another fiction, in my opinion, another unrealistic scene. That's kind of one of my problems. And my biggest problems is the stunt double with the fight scenes. The mascot, when the mascot kicks the ass, then that's actually Mark Stefanich. In the second fight, with the guy, that's once again when he gets kicked, that's not Van Damme, that's Mark Stefanich. Even in the locker room, that's Mark Stefanich. Like in Cliffhanger, I don't see any stunt doubles. Even though Stallone does most of his own stunts. Like only with the helicopter, there's only one stunt scene. But that movie is more exciting, more thrilling than this. In Die Hard, this movie is more cool. Even the actor who plays Theo. Clarence Gilead Jr. is much better. He's much better than Dorian Harwood. He's much better actor, much better portrayed, more cool, I mean, I like the film, but it kind of pacing is slow, Even Under Siege with Seagal is much better, for my opinion. More fast-paced, more action. This movie, besides 37 minutes, there barely is any action, except terrorists taking the presidency and taking the staff and the vice president's hostage. There barely is any exciting in the film. I still don't know how. Another problem that I had is with Van Damme's character. Was he a special forces or something? How did he even know how to defuse the bombs? Since Van is actually a fireman or a fire marshal, an expert for bombs, which is another problem that I have with the film. Another flaw, another plot hole in the film. And what happened when? Sorry about my cameras acting fucking crazy, but what happened when Joshua gets killed? What happened to the money? The White House was actually transferring the money. What happened to the money? Because if I remember, Joshua said that it would be traceable to get the money. What happened to the money? Did they lost it? This is just one of the few problems with the film that I do have. It's kind of Alan Rickman was much better as Powers Boothe, as the terrorist. He knew how to make the version, how to steal, how to make a perfect plan to seize the building, and he was making an escape. But if I remember, Joshua didn't do anything. How he's gonna escape, until the finale, third act, when he disguised himself in some guy with a mustache, but he had any plan to escape, But the action sequences are kinda okay. They're actually kinda good. The action sequences are good in this movie. I think when Van Damme uses the Uzi with silencer with the locker room, so I still don't know why he doesn't hit the guy. He should have hit the guy, and still don't know how he missed it. It was an automatic weapon, and he still missed it. He wastes his bullets instead shoot the guy, But but I liked it by the finale. The finale, I liked it. There's still some practical explosions in the film, like when he puts on the board, there's a C4. I'm gonna try to deactivate it, and the guy uses a rocket launcher and blows the board, the table board to pieces. I like that practical effect. I like the finale. The finale was actually the reason why I really liked the film. I liked it when Van Damme he climbs on the roof of the hockey arena and opens the roof, and he fights one of the bad guys. The bad guys falls down. I like that scene. There's he uses the rope, he climbs the rope. I kind of like that. Then he somehow goes and slides down, and goes in that lodge and breaks in the lodge. He falls down the lodge, grabs the machine gun, and finally, it's the first time that he shoots the one of the terrorists, the bad guy, and hits it. That's the only accurate scene that I liked. Then I also liked by the finale, he goes back, I still don't get it. He disabled what 8, 9 bombs, but one bomb explode. But also when he goes back to the seats to get his son, I really like that. That was a really epic scene. Yes, I like the reunited with his son. He says, stay there, even if the roof falls down, and I love that. I like that. That's the scene that I like that. Still makes a good movie. Even with the problems. It still makes this movie a good one. So yes, I like Sudden Death. But it's not one of my top 10. It's not one of my favorite Van Damme films or top 10. I'll say Time Cop is kind of better because I like the more cool scenes, more fight scenes are much better. The story is much better by Time Cop if I compare to Sudden Death. But I liked it when he reunites with the son and his daughter gets once again kidnapped. And I like the scene with the helicopter, like when Damme grabs the rope, runs with the rope, and he fights with Joshua, but I wish the fight scenes were much better, but Joshua tries to kill his girl, his daughter, but the gun falls down, and he tries to escape with the helicopter, but doesn't work with the helicopter because Van Damme grabs the rope, grabs the gun, fires, bam, 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 shoots the pilot, and he also shoots, thank God, he shoots the guy I hated, Jack Eardy's Crash. I hated the guy so much, so I'm glad he shoot him. I like the helicopter scene. I think that was done for real. It was practical done. I still know how they actually filmed that. The helicopter goes right in the hockey arena on the ice, and explosions with C. Powers Woodkey in it. I don't know how they do that, but that was actually excellent. That scene was excellent in the film. So that's still a good scene. One of the reasons I didn't like this girl played by Carla Faith Minton, she was a mascot, but she killed that guy. She was like, why she was even killing people? I mean, one of those co-workers from Joanne, they asked her and why she was even killing, why she tried to kill a little girl, but then the gun was empty. Still don't get it. But I think that scene when Van Damme stabs the guy with the bone in the neck, I like that scene. I like the scene with the helicopter, the crash. I mean, I think it's written on trivia, IMDb, but I don't remember now. But that scene was likable. I like that scene. It was really good one. That scene was really good. But it kind of reminds me of Cliffhanger. Just Cliffhanger, I love more. Cliffhanger is more fast-paced. Under Siege is more fast-paced. I think that even Deadly Outbreak with Jeff Speakman is more fast-paced. And it's actually not sluggish like this film, For the 37 minutes, Van Damme barely does anything. There's even barely is any action sequence in it except the taking over, the presidency. I mean, even Under Siege is much better, more action. Even Die Hard is much better action. Even Die Hard doesn't feel that slow pace, even for 2 hours and 12 minutes. This movie is 1 hour, 51 minutes, and it's like slow paced. It's kind of, the pacing is slow. It's kind of sluggish, slow pace, and there's too many stunt doubles for Van Damme. I mean, I don't get it. What happened? Why was Mark Stefanich instead of Van Damme? Even the fighting style isn't Van Damme. It's some guy that's actually a stunt double. Way too much stunt double. Mark Stefanich was way too much for Van Damme. I don't know, did Peter Hyams do that? Did he thought it would be cool? Or maybe I actually heard some story that Jean-Claude Van Damme was a huge drug addicted and he was using cocaine, and some people claim that he did with cocaine. But if that will be actually a reason or even true, then if he will do all these movies with cocaine, then why in this movie were too many stunt doubles? So I don't believe that he did it cocaine. I don't believe that. I think he was probably on drugs, or he just wasn't in his shape, or he just wasn't fit to do fight scenes. But that isn't his style. This isn't his spin kicks. Yeah, it's cool the guy jumps, but that just isn't spin kicks. Just isn't the fight style correctly. Yeah, I like that scene, but I just wish that at least in the movie he only uses the gun twice, the machine gun, but that Uzi or machine gun, at least he could hit in the locker room the enemy, but he didn't. He missed it. I mean, like in Hard Target, he uses two guns and kills the enemies. In this movie, he even misses. Except the launch, which is the only accuracy that he hits one of those terrorists, or he goes and hits the pilot and goes and hits he hits the guy I hate. I like that. But like one of the scenes are like even laughable in my opinion. It's just, I think that the action sequences weren't that exciting. It's kind of slow pace, this film. It kind of suffers from slow pace. The movie was kind of boring. It kind of felt boring. I still think Peter Hyams did a great job. I mean, he directed Time Cop that I love. He directed End of Days. I love that End of Days. But Sudden Death, I mean, I don't think it's one of Van Damme's best films. I wish that movie wouldn't be slow burn. I wish it wouldn't be sluggish. But sometimes I wish that, like, Van Damme, first hour, except 2 fight scenes, which is someone else, not him, doesn't do almost anything. It isn't even exciting like the second hour. But still, I didn't like it. Like Dorian Harvett, how he even got in the hockey arena, and then he turns out he's a bad guy. I still don't get why is he a bad guy. That is just doesn't make sense, the twist. Or what happened with the money when Van Damme jumps in the lodge, slides down and jumps in the lodge. What happened to the money? No explanation. Or even how Van Damme used the water pistol and he burned Dorian Harwood's face. But how, if it was actually a water in it? Or was it a liquid? Was it actually an alcohol in the pistol? Or maybe he did put alcohol, but I didn't see it in the film. Or how did he even did a dart, which makes no sense? Or how is actually Darren McCord a bomb expert, since how he knows how to disable bombs? That's another problem in the film that kind of makes no sense. I still would rather watch this film, Die Hard. I still think that Die Hard is superior. It's a classic. That's the best film. That's actually the best film. A man fighting against a team of terrorists. I even think that Under Siege is much better film. Cliffhanger much better film. Broken Arrow is much better film. At least John Travolta and Christian Slater does not do the stunts. They actually, I mean, there's no stunt doubles for them. John Travolta did all his own stunts. there's only two stunt doubles for two scenes for Christian Slater, which was stunt double, but there aren't so many stunt doubles for Christian Slater. He did almost 59% of his own stunts. I mean, even Travolta did his own stunts, so why Van Damme couldn't do his own stunts? Like the fight scenes, he didn't do it. It was Mark Stefanich. Even you can see that's not his style. The actor who fights are completely different style that we saw in the previous movies. Van Damme, who uses his flying jump spin kicks, or he makes like 360 kicks, Watch Cyborg, you see what I mean? Compare Cyborg, the fight scenes with Van Damme, and compare this scenes with Cyborg, and you see that's completely different. Watch Kickboxer. He uses the same trademark from the previous movies, but this movie, the stuntman doesn't use Van Damme's flying kicks or his fights, So yeah, that's one of the reasons why this movie suffers. Even plot makes no sense. Like plot holes. There's so many plot holes in this film. But yeah, it's actually nice to see the hockey arena, like hockey players like Luc Robitaille. I like the hockey player. I think he's retired now. I like that. I think Van Damme did a good job, even though with the problems. Van Damme did a good job, in my opinion. Powers Boothia, rest in peace, he did a good job. The actor Ross Malinger and of course Whitney Wright did a good job. They actually did a good job. Yeah, they actually both did a good job. Yeah, the budget for this movie was $35 million. But worldwide made only $64 million, which like Time Cop made. Time Cop wasn't that much expensive to do than this film. Time Cop was like, Time Cop was actually, I think was $27 million, but made over $100 million, while I think that Hard Target also did did $18 million, but I think it almost made $100 million. I think this is one of the movies that did not do that much in the box office. Even though it surpassed the budget, it still didn't do that much money like Time Cop. Time Cop was more successful than Sudden Death. But yeah, I saw this film as a kid on VHS. But like I said, for the 90s, I don't think it's one of Van Damme's best films, I still think that even Lionheart is actually much better film. Lionheart is actually a classic compared to this film. I even think that I think that Cyborg, Kickboxer, I think was Bloodsport is much better. Kickboxer, Cyborg, Hard Target. I think that even Maximum Risk is much better, for my opinion, and that's one of my favorite films, which is gonna be Tomorrow Next. Those are actually one of my favorite films from Van Damme. I think even The Order is much better that Van Damme did, or even Double Impact. I enjoy Double Impact is much better film. But yeah, I like Sudden Death. I like the film. I like the film. I like Sudden Death. I think it's a good movie. It's a good Die Hard ripoff. Not one of Van Damme's best, but still a good movie. I still like the film. I'm still gonna watch it. I still think it's a fun film. It's a fun Die Hard film. I think it's a fun action film, fun Die Hard film. So yeah, that's my movie review on Sudden Death from 1995. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope you liked it. And my next review is gonna be Maximum Risk. That movie I actually love to death, which I'll talk tomorrow about it. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.